Headlines, I'm Dion Jacks Miller. So in December, the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahoo, tabled in Parliament a bill that is to, among other things, replace the King as Jamaica's head of state with an indigenous head of state. And there were a number of other features included in the bill that we haven't seen before in our constitution, incorporating the national symbols and emblems as one example. What happens now, though? Joining us, we have the Minister. Thank you so much for joining us, Minister. Appreciate it.
Happy New Year, Mrs. Jackson Miller. Happy New Year to your listeners.
And the very same to you. So, first of all, I think everybody acknowledges this is the first time we've got this far in our many years and decades of talking about constitutional reform in relation to moving to become a republic and introducing our own indigenous head of state. So for you, is that a huge sense of achievement?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As you know, all of the forces conspired to slow the process, and, or I should say combined, because we have been in uncharted waters beyond where we had gone before. And there are so many governance issues to be addressed, issues of accountability for which other issues were being used as a proxy. And as you know, the constitutional framework requires cooperation between the two sides of parliament before a matter gets to the people, a matter of this sort. And I think what is of interest to this discussion is where we are in the life of the parliament. But undoubtedly, I really want to thank all those who contributed in whatever way, who helped to refine the issues, focus attention, raise matters, members of the CRC, members of the Secretariat, in helping to ensure that the national goals that we are pursuing, we were able to seriously get on with the pursuit of them.
Having said that, though, the opposition has continued to say they're not supporting the bill that would replace the king with an indigenous head of state unless the government includes in this phase of the reform removing the Privy Council as Jamaica's final court. The government has said that is for phase 2 of the constitutional reform process. But so it feels like we're at a stalemate. Has there been any, up to the last time I spoke to the opposition, they said they hadn't changed their position. Has the government changed its position?
Naturally, that is a matter of concern, because in the pursuit of these national goals, which require the approval of the people after the approval of the parliament, we really do not want a division. To the best of my knowledge, what we are pursuing are agreed goals, but the opposition is saying they want more. The policy approach of the Wholeness Administration is to deal with the matters on which we have consensus. The opposition would like the issue of the final court.
Hello, morning.
Good morning, Mr. Shaka.
Yes, sir. We're live on here.
Yeah, I just have 2 questions I want to ask you. Not just about this administration. Is it that the people of the country can take the government to court for misuse of public funds? Is that
I am almost sure it can happen. It has never, I don't remember if it has ever been done, but I believe that is something that can happen.
I have another question again. The pandemic, right? Me see this, the Jamaican government charging people 700, 800, 200,000 and all these things for mass stand in public space after certain. You think that is legal, or do you think it's illegal? I don't know, me just ask.
When it happened, it was legal based on the law that they used to do it.
No, but they're the one that just implement that law.
I don't think they brought it in definitely for the pandemic.
Eh?
Yeah, man, it was brought in for the pandemic.
So what about the minister them that break the law? None of them get charged.
Well, remember, Flight Green had to resign, and we would want to believe that that is actually a slap on the wrist for what
No,
Flight Green did.
Fly Green didn't resign. I want to put that out. If a man resign, even Warmington then, when a man resign from him post, him not supposed to work back another post in the parliament. That is my belief.
Like Andrew
Maybe
Wheatley.
that's a thought of-
Like Andrew Wheatley.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you see, they have the power to do anything that they want. And it is within the powers of the Jamaican people soon to really pose a sentence on this administration if they so desire.
Yeah, but there should be law. There should be law against these people that with the power that they have. They're not supposed to just do what they want. It can't be a two-way thing. One law go for the poorest of the people.
Well, you see, we have to decide what it is that we want as a people. And therefore, it comes down to the people of Jamaica and how they are going to treat with these kind of things.
Well, right. I don't know. I think it's really terrible still because based on what me see, the people that must suffer, they are the one paying these people and then do whatever they want. Not just one party. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But I think this is the worst ever happened in the history of the country.
Well, as I said, it comes down to the people at the end of the day to determine how they want to treat with an administration who you believe and I believe that have done wrong by the people. But as I said, it comes down to the people to decide when the time comes. All right.
Yeah, but I think the constitution need to change though. The people supposed to have more talk more than these people that we hired to serve with. Well, we are the master, not them. Well, and this is my belief.
If you
we are the master, not the politician them. And the constitution have to put more laws for the people that paying these people, not laws for the people that working for us.
Well,
that is wrong.
If you remember when Andrew Wellness was campaigning for office, he mentioned term limit, he mentioned an impeachment bill that he would have brought to the parliament. But to date, none of those bills have been brought to the parliament.
Well, to be honest, Shaka, I don't listen to that man talk, because that man are the biggest, the biggest scammer, the biggest everything the country ever see. That man teach every wrongs we are going in this administration. That man is a teacher. You think the rural we just go in there and just rub up the education money just so? No. Remember say Andrew Wellness was there before him. And him employ him put him there. So me not have to say nothing more.
Well, me I beg you not say nothing more upon that.
Yeah.
Because we have no further evidence than what has been brought to the fore thus far. So, yeah, man. Thanks for the call, though, yeah?
Yeah, man. Respect,
Stay tuned to the show.
Cool.
All right. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
To be included in the absence of
standeth in the ways of sinners.
Or they would have desired.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. I want to welcome each and every one to Portland Spice TV this morning. It's a good morning. It's a Saturday morning. We have to give thanks to the Lord Jesus Christ for waking us up this morning in our right mind. And, we just claim healing for those of us who are sick, those of us who are not well, those of us who are going through our challenges. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. We are listening to an interview done with Dean Jackson Miller and Honorable Marlene Malawu, 4th Minister of Constitutional Reform, talking about a bill that was tabled in the Parliament in December of last year. A bill that I believe... Chelsea Clinton, good morning. A bill that I believe is a bill that was tabled as a waste of time. The opposition has made it clear that unless the Privy Council is a part of that bill, they will not be supporting it. And for the bill to go forward, it needs at least one senator from the opposition side to vote for it to go forward. So therefore, if the opposition made it clear that they are not in support of it without the Privy Council being a part of it, then it's a waste of time. We'll continue listening to that. We are expecting to be joined this morning by the General Secretary of the People's National Party and the shadow spokesperson on agriculture somewhere at about 9:30. Share the link. Like up the live. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you all for helping us to pass 3,000 subscribers, and we are growing. Thank you for joining us. We continue to listen from RGR, Dean Jackson Miller, and Marlene Malahu Fort in that interview. Interview was done on Wednesday evening. Hold on.
Build the consensus. That was difficult because even in getting to where we are on the matters on which we have agreed, there was so much contention and tension in the space, not just within the parliamentary space, but within the wider society. Again, because we're in unknown territory, and there's so many issues that members of the public want to have addressed about how the politics is practiced, how the link between politics and governance. But if we can't cooperate on the things on which we are agreed, I think it's nigh difficult for us to cooperate on the things that we're not agreed. Having said that, the policy approach of the Labour Party in government is a recognition that we will have to deal with a matter of which final court. It is not a done deal that it is the CCJ. It could very well be. And there are many good reasons that will point to the likelihood of the CCJ when all of what is to be considered is to be considered. But I think there are, from where I'm looking at it, I would describe as an unfortunate approach by the opposition. One is that you don't get to a final court without having a decision from which to appeal. So the argument about justice being denied to Jamaicans because of the issue of the final court is not a sound argument in the way that it has been presented.
Hold that thought. Again, 1 second for me, Minister. I'm so sorry to hold for 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm right at the break. So let's just take the break and we come back.
All right. So once again, viewers and listeners, welcome to Port and Spice TV for this Saturday morning. It's the 11th day of January in the year of our Lord 2025. And starting the program this morning, we've been listening to an interview done on RGR 94 FM with host Dean Jackson Miller interviewing the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahu Fort. They're talking about a bill that was tabled in the Parliament in December of last year, a bill that intends to remove the Queen as the King, as the head of state of Jamaica. And of course, the opposition had made it clear from day one that unless the Privy Council is a part of the deal, that the opposition will not be playing any ball, will not be supporting this bill going forward. The government, they are saying that the bill is the first stage and the Privy Council will be a part of it in the second phase. Now, the People's National Party opposition, they are saying that they are not waiting on the second phase. They want the Privy Council to be in the first phase of this constitutional reform. And if that is not so, they will not be supporting the bill going forward. But with all that said, the government and the minister decided to table the bill in the Parliament. They are also putting together a joint select committee of the Parliament to discuss the bill going forward. Let me also remind you that for this bill to become law, it must receive the support of at least one senator from the opposition side. And the opposition has made it clear that they will not be supporting the bill. However, the government still decide to go forward.
And with it,
a number of things that we want to look at this morning. One of them is that the government has been saying on a regular basis that they are not borrowing any money to do the works that they are doing as a government. And Ralston Hyman has been telling us over and over that the government is borrowing somewhere about $265 billion to help to fund the budget. $1 trillion of the money for the budget is coming from taxes and earnings from Jamaica. And there's another $3.8 billion that needs to be found. Ralston Hyman has told us that $265 billion of that is coming from loan. A newscast on a Thursday morning on the RGR Business News stated that the government is borrowing $102 billion. Well, the government has borrowed $102 billion last year. So something that we're also going to be looking at this morning.
In Parliament in December to remove the King as our head of state, to replace him with an indigenous head of state. And we're talking to the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. Just before the break, I was asking the minister about whether the government is shifting its position, given the opposition's insistence that the issue of the final court should be dealt with at the same time. And yet you were talking about the justice issue, Minister, but isn't it a better argument that if we're at the stage of removing Britain's final links to our executive, to our legislature, that we should just at the same time remove them from our judiciary?
You know, Dion, I understand the argument very well. Don't get me wrong. I understand the argument very well. Change of this nature is monumental, and change has to be managed. Government is administered. I have seen how many seem to be of the view that the man in the street administers government. Not so. The branches of government have to be administered and administered well. And in fact,
I'm so sorry, I don't understand what you just said. The man in the street?
Meaning that change. So Prime Minister Holness had explained to the leader of the opposition early in the day that there are a number of issues that have to be managed. And I don't think that anyone who understands the political process well enough would look at it devoid of political realities. An administration is supported by its base because a political party campaigns to form office. And people, you have to canvass the views. At this time, there still remains divided views on the issue of which final court.
So then,
there are divided views. And I do not think that we can move to the issue of the replacement of the court in the presence of divided views. The other thing is that I think it's unfortunate that some people have come away with an impression that the approach taken by the opposition means that the court is a PNP court. We don't ever want to go down a path where people are perceiving our courts as being aligned politically. Because the truth is that it is neither the JLP nor the PNP's court. And the issue has to be considered from what is in the best interest of the people of Jamaica and the people in Jamaica who resolve their disputes through the courts and who take them to the highest level.
When, though, are we going to hear what's the position of the government in relation?
Minister Morgan also came out
I
swinging.
I don't know that the government has not said what its position is. And I hear the point being repeated erroneously.
Which is what?
First of all, no. I think your question is a proxy for what is the government saying about the CCJ. Because the government has never been quiet on the approach that it is taking in the reform of the Constitution in the most consequential way since the attainment of independence.
No, but that's not what I'm
It is the
asking
most
at all.
difficult process.
No, but I'm
that
not
we're
asking.
engaging.
No, but to be
Right.
clear, I'm not asking
Right.
about the process at all. As you said, and I think I made reference earlier to the government's position on it being something that should be dealt with in phase 2. I'm literally asking, what's the government's position on our final court? Should it be the Privy Council, CCJ, or a Jamaican final court?
I thought I had answered that when I said to you that within the government and within the party supporting the government, there are divided views.
So
Some
there's
are
no
in
position?
favor- Hold on. I'm sorry?
So there's not going to be a position? Because there are always going to be divided views.
Absolutely. But we're still working through a process. You see, we want outcome without process. And for us, we really want to ensure that as we make these changes, we do not repeat the errors of the past.
But it's been a minute though, Minister. I mean, you all been in power
it
now
has
for
been
8
a-
years. It's been a long time. It's been 8 years now.
Absolutely, but Mrs. Jackson Miller, the reform of the Constitution has not been the only matter that has been occupying the government since it has been in office. And we have been through a pandemic, believe it or not, although we have managed it well and we have received international commendation. It took a lot. We have been dealing with a number of issues that were taken for granted or just not attended to for the many years and many decades of economic stagnation and decline in the nation. So much so that now that monies are available and there is policy space, as they would say, to deal with the issues, there is the other matter of capacity and standard in government, because for a long time, the machinery of government grew idle in the absence of resources to embark on projects. And these are real issues that have been affecting the people. The day-to-day running of government is not an easy matter. And yes, we have been here for a long time, but a lot of things have been addressed, and there are many more to be addressed.
But here's the thing.
The Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs was created because of the Prime Minister's commitment to constitutional reform and to ensure that it does not become a by-the-way matter going forward in the pursuit of the national goals. But I get it, I get to the impatience.
It's not
But when
impatience.
you
It
are
can
leading-
hardly be described as impatience, Minister. As I said, 8 years into an administration, by now you should have a position on Jamaica's final court, pandemic notwithstanding.
Can I tell you, Dion, like I said, views are divided on it. And I don't know how you get to a single view in the presence of divided perspective. We have to go through a process of hearing the people out, because the truth is, when it comes to matters of justice, there are other matters that are more important to the people than which final court at this time.
There always
The face
matters.
of justice is the face of our trial court, and we are saying that as a policy approach, we want to take a look at the judicial branch of government. We want to look at the courts, the entire hierarchy of courts. Some matters can be dealt with more easily than others. Some can be dealt with more quickly than others. But as part of the approach that we have taken, we are coming to dealing with the judicial branch of government.
So
And
there-
this is a matter, more than anything else, where the people have very, very strong views. If you think their views are strong, and whether we should have a Jamaican head of state, wait until you get to the court.
So you're going to wait until there is widespread consultation to form a position? There's no position that's
no,
saying...
and I would ask that you do not become fixated on it, because process is just as important. At the end of the day, we want Jamaica's final court to be owned by the people, not foisted upon them.
Can hardly foisted, it's been literally decades, Minister. Literally.
I understand that, but there are so many things, Mrs. Jackson Miller, that have not been addressed with the urgency that they should be addressed. So now that we are in the process of so doing, is it really so difficult to let the process take its course?
Well, here's a difficulty, though, because if the government... Let me just finish this question, if I could. Yeah. Because if the government isn't shifting its position, the opposition isn't shifting its position either, isn't this whole process we're about to embark on of a joint select committee and deliberations and submissions really and truly a waste of time? Because if at the end of the day, the opposition has already said, if you're not dealing with the issue of the final court, we're not voting yes. This bill is going nowhere.
Well, here's it. I do not subscribe to the view that because we are where we are in the life of the parliament, that nothing should get done. And this is not to say I do not appreciate the realities. After all, I am.
No, man, that's not what I didn't raise the life of the parliament at all, you know.
Hear me. All right. I believe that when we get to that stage, I always believe that there is room for dialogue and consultation. I think that we have to display the level of maturity in the exercise of leadership to put the interest of the nation ahead. And I understand that it will take both sides coming together. No. The last time the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition spoke on this matter in my presence and in the presence of another member of the CRC, I came away with the impression that it was accepted and agreed by both sides that we may not be agreed at this stage and so would not be pursuing the matter at this stage. But I was left in no doubt about the importance of the matter to the parliamentary opposition. And I believe that when something is important to one side, in a framework where both sides are required to come together, then the matter should be discussed. But I don't believe that because that we must deal with it in order to deal with these other matters on which we are agreed. And I would say that the parliamentary opposition and the opposition leader would have to tell the people that I'm not.
But they have repeatedly. They have repeatedly, right. Including at the time when the bill was tabled.
I'm not able to say from where I am now what will happen, except to say that the process will continue.
All right. Well, talk to me about process before we run out of time, Minister.
Right.
We had heard that joint select committee.
The bill having been tabled, though we went through a consultative process in respect of the matters being implemented, we are still going to be inviting comments on the actual content of the bill. Because, as you know, a review process pre-bill was wider than, and even so, we want to ensure that what we are providing for is reflected in the words used and the actual intent carries through. So the bill having been tabled, the review will take place because, of course, the debate on the whole text of the bill cannot occur unless a 3-month period has elapsed between its introduction and first reading and second reading. So we're in that interregnum where we're going to be using the time. We will see what happens. I am not unmindful of the hurdles at all, believe me. But at the same time, I am so looking for the exercise of leadership that will demonstrate that we can cooperate where we agree, we can work where we are not yet agreed or where we have divergent views, and that we can put the development aspirations of the nation above the short-term partisan matters.
Out of time, but I understand a meeting is scheduled for sometime this month of the Joint Select Committee.
We have some visit. Yes, because the first meeting usually speaks to the housekeeping matters, and also just to formally indicate to members of the public that we will be inviting their submission on the bill itself, the provisions of the bill, the matters in the bill. It's not as wide because there is sometimes the indiscipline, or I would say the excitement about a bill, and people go at large. Much to learn from the process of just the difficulty in focusing on matters, a reflection of many other things in the nation.
Gonna have to leave it there, Minister, but we're always willing to continue this conversation. We appreciate your time and your thoughts this afternoon. Thank you so much. We look forward to the meetings of the committee. We'll be following them very closely.
Thank you for choosing this matter for your discussion today. All the best to the listeners.
Talking there with the
So you were listening to that interview between Dion Jackson Miller of RGR and the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahou Fort, as the bill was tabled in the Parliament for a joint select committee to discuss that bill. But as I've been saying to you, I don't understand how you're pushing a bill forward that needs the opposition participation and the opposition to be in agreement with you. At least one senator has to vote for that bill for it to become law. And the opposition has stated clearly that they are not going to be supporting that bill, but you're still bringing it to the parliament. We are now joined by the General Secretary of the People's National Party and the Shadow Minister on Agriculture, Dr. Dayton Campbell. Dr. Campbell, good morning.
Good morning and good
morning, Dr. Campbell. We lost Dr. Campbell a while ago.
No, I'm here. I said morning. Good morning to your listeners as well.
All right. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Dr. Campbell, a couple of things we want to talk to you about this morning. Agriculture being the primary one of the things that we want to talk to you about. Agriculture is vital to the survival of any people. I mean, as a country, we must feed ourselves. But you made a statement last week about building up a fund to support agriculture. Explain to us what you said.
All right. So agriculture contributes about 9% to the gross domestic product of the country. And it is the largest employer of labor. We have about 300,000 farmers in the country, about 250,000 out of that registered with RADA and the different farming groups. Now, there are several issues that are affecting the farmers, and we've done wide consultation with large farmers, small farmers. And so one of the proposals, because there are several proposals that we have, one of them is to have a designated fund that is similar to the Universal Service Fund, which is building out the hotspots across the country, or to the Tourism Enhancement Fund, or to the National Health Fund, that is specific to agriculture. Right. We call it the Agriculture Development Fund. The purpose of that fund now will be to modernize and transform the agricultural sector. We'll focus on several areas, and I list a few of them. First, we want to ensure that we focus on training so we can build the capacity of our farmers so they can be a change in perspective and a change in mindset and approach to agriculture. We want to assist farmers with land preparation. So we're not attracting young people to agriculture. And a part of the reason is because they don't want to do the manual labor with the pickaxe and the hoe that they came up seeing their grandparents play. If we're able to mechanize agriculture and have more help with land preparation, then we'll be able to attract more persons and it will be more productive. Two, we want to be able to assist persons with like seed planters, with drones for spraying, with harvesters to reap their crops, and by upgrading the local markets so the farmers can go and sell their produce nearby and go directly to the public that is purchasing. We want to be able to build out a storage facility so that when they generate, when they grow their produce, we can cut down what is now at 30% post-harvest loss, where even after reaping, they still lose 30% because we don't have the necessary storage facility.
Losing 30% out of the liquor where we don't have already?
Yes. And a critical area as well, we want to put some of the funding in the PC banks so that persons can have access to funding, because that is currently one of the barriers to persons entering agriculture. If you look at the agroparks, we have 1,950 hectares over about 11 agroparks, and currently only 600 hectares out of that is under production, roughly 30%. The rest of the lands inside the agroparks that has the infrastructure, the road, the drainage, the irrigation, is just idle, doing absolutely nothing. So we want to get persons to be able to use those and want to have them have access to funding. And that will cause us now to move to import substitution, where we can produce the things locally so we don't have to depend on imports from elsewhere. Irish and onion are two of the main areas that we want. And we have set an ambitious target to say within 2 years, we want to be able to produce enough onion and Irish so that we can be self-sufficient. Jamaica as a country consumes 21,000 tons of Irish annually. So we believe
How much of that? How
knowing
much of that we're growing ourselves?
a very small amount. You're gonna have a yield of about 6,000 kilograms of Irish per acre. So we know exactly how much we need to have on the production in order for us to become self-sufficient. And Roger Clark did it in 2014. Right? We took Irish out of the importation basket, so it is possible. It's just that this government does not have a focus on local agriculture.
So
We
am
want
I to
also focus
understand?
on
Hold on, Dr.
export-led.
Campbell. Hold on. Am
Yes.
I to understand then that the next PNP administration would be deliberate about increasing the yield from Irish potato?
Absolutely. We will be deliberate about increasing the number of acres under production, increasing the yield and quality by adapting to newer technology, by doing the necessary research and training so we can have more productive farmers.
You
Our
have
aim
any
is
other
to
numbers from
build local
2014?
agriculture. Not yet. But for the importation bill, in the last year of the previous PNP government, 2015, the last full year,
Yeah.
the import bill was $838 million US. In 2023, we didn't have any hurricane or anything. 2023, the import bill was $1.379 billion, an increase of 65%.
1.379 billion from 800 million. And we're talking about
Yep.
US. Let us just make
US
it clear to
dollars.
the listeners
US
that
dollars.
that is US dollars we're talking about. So
Yes,
you are
just imagine
now
the
saying,
strain that puts on our currency, because you have to find foreign exchange in order to purchase these things here. You are purchasing these things in Jamaican dollars. You have to convert Jamaican dollars to US dollars in order to purchase these things.
so Dr. Campbell, why you believe that the media came down on you so hard? If this
The
is
media
really
came down hard because of the source of funding. So the point I'm making, there are several, and to be frank, it was said in an ambiguous way that led some persons to think that there is a proposal for a new tax. There is not. I want to be
Explain
very
that to
clear
us.
that there is not. There isn't any proposal to impose any new taxation, nor are we planning to tax items that are not currently being taxed. So you do have some basic items, like rice. If you import rice from CARICOM currently, based on the treaty that is in place, you don't pay any duties on it. Right? Flour and other things, you don't currently pay any duties on it, and that will remain. Nobody is proposing to change that. The proposal is that, and I've heard persons say, but Nigel Clark removed the taxes. No, he made a proposal to remove GCT from raw produce, and it has not been removed, by the way. It's still there. I checked up to 2 days ago, and it is still being paid. But what I'm referring to are the stamp duties and the common external tariffs, which are other forms of tax.
And those are existing. Those are existing
They're
tax.
already there.
Right.
Yes, they're already there. So Irish potato, for example, pays a common external tariff of 40% of what you're bringing in. You pay that as CET. Onions attract the same 40% CET, but it also attracts another 35% of what is called additional stamp duties.
Right.
Chicken has 260%.
260%.
Yes, because it was done in 2002 to protect the local industry, because 30% of the chicken output in the country comes from small farmers. A teacher that has a coop growing 100 chicken or 50 chicken, the little small farmers, it is done to protect those persons, right? So I don't know what the hullabaloo is about, because every country in this world protects their farmers because they understand the importance of food security. What I am saying is that for once, the local farmers in Jamaica are going to be prioritized. They are going to be the ones that we invest in. I am not interested in investing in farmers in other countries by focusing on importation. That will certainly not be my focus. There will be a time where you have to import. We might have an adverse weather event and it causes us to lose our production. And during those periods, you have to import, because I'm not suggesting a system that will see the hotels or anybody has not been able to have a consistent supply. Clearly, I understand that, that there needs to be consistency in supply. But I think even the argument that was advanced that somehow it is going to increase cost of living, it is a specious argument. On the face of it, it appears to be true, but it is actually not true.
Explain that to us.
It would be true if persons were doing something to imports without focusing on local agriculture. But remember that agriculture is the best representation of the market economy. demand and supply. Whenever
Yes.
the supplies are in large quantities, the prices go down. Whenever the things are scarce, the prices go up. So if you were to focus on the local production of agricultural produce, then it would increase the supply, which means that it would cause the prices to go down. So it would actually positively impact on persons. And food is the main item in the basket, the inflation basket, especially for poor people. Most people, when they finish working, the income that they have left after paying bills is just to buy food. So if food becomes cheaper, they would have a better quality of life.
So explain to my listeners and viewers, Dr. Campbell, how this would benefit the Jamaican people if we increase our supply, our local supply, and really stop the importation of all these other food items that we can produce right here.
All right, so the fund, let me just go over it. The fund, because it is a dedicated fund when you need to assist farmers, so there's a heavy rainfall and there's severe loss of agricultural produce in East Portland. Farmers are crying out for help. Under the current situation, you have to wait on a warrant, an order from the Ministry of Finance to release the funds. By having the dedicated funds, you'll be able to respond quicker because that warrant at times may take a month, 2 months, 3 months. You may miss the window to replant, right? So you need to be able to get the farmers back working in a quick way. After burial, some persons lost in the region of $500,000. The ministry gave them a $50,000 bag of fertilizer and a pack of seed. And they had to take pictures. And that is the help that they said they gave to farmers. Nothing meaningful, nothing substantial. You have some farmers that are doing land preparation that end up spending over $1 million. And they don't have access. RADA doesn't provide any service to them, any assistance to them. The extension service of RADA does currently is just woefully inadequate. If we're able to have the tractors, the plows, and those things in place, they will be able to assist these persons. So those are the things that we are saying, to be able to put some things in place for rainwater harvesting, whether it's a bigger pond, put in a pond liner so that these persons can have the necessary harvesting of the rainwater so they can irrigate their farms. So, and when it gets to the production side of it, once you increase domestic production, local production, the farmers locally are going to benefit. We're going to have consistency of supply because we're also going to build out the storage facilities. The prices are going to go down. Everybody in Jamaica knows that when there's a glut on the market, the prices go down. When there's scarcity, the prices go up. So if we have a consistent supply, it will drive the prices down.
And local farmers will benefit.
The local farmers will benefit because they will have consistent market for their produce, and the local consumer will benefit because there is no scarcity, so it won't drive up the price of the item. We are going to focus on local farmers. They can try to make the conversation about something else, but at some point in time, they must come back to have a conversation about the need for the fund and the good that the fund will do to transform the local sector.
But why is it, Dr. Campbell, that it seems in Jamaica that we protect people who import food into this country?
That is because of who is doing the importation. I think it should be illegal for as member of parliament sitting inside the parliament on the government benches to have the control that some of the members currently have, where they literally dictate if people can get planting material for some of the items. They are the main importers of some of the items, and there are other members in there who are not doing themselves, but their children or family members are doing it. And the government that is in such a position will have absolutely no interest in stopping the import.
Hold on, Dr. Campbell.
Because that is all they are earning.
Dr. Campbell, are you saying that there are members of parliament now who are either themselves involved or have family members involved in importation of food item into this country?
Yes, and there are some of them that are dominant in it. There are members inside of the parliament now, Jamaica Labour Party member of parliament, who dominates importation into Jamaica. And there are other members there whose relatives are also given import licenses and permits on almost a monthly basis. Therefore, they have no interest in protecting the local farmers. Let me show you an example. The Minister of Agriculture should be ashamed of himself. The Minister of Agriculture last year in his own constituency in St. Elizabeth, which is considered a breadbasket parish in Jamaica, because they produce 24% of all agricultural produce, 1 out of 14 parish produces a quarter of the agricultural produce, the
Yes.
bread basket.
Yes.
The farmers inside of that constituency last year had to throw away their onions and some rot in the field because onions were imported into the country, which caused a glut on the market, causing the price to fall way down, and the farmers could not get a market for their produce, and they lost it. That story was well carried with pictures and videos.
Also,
of the
farmers
onions
in
the
St.
field.
Thomas had that problem.
Also, farmers in St. Thomas had that problem. And that occurred because the government allowed for importation. You can't just get up and import something and you have to get a permit to do it, which means that somebody approved for you to import the items. Now, wouldn't it be better if RADA actually functioned and you knew at all times how many farmers we had, what they had under production, how many acres they had under production, and what was the expected yield, so you could use that to control whether or not you needed any import licenses. And in my opinion, persons that are being given import licenses should be practicing in the industry.
Exactly.
If you are a farmer of Irish and Irish is short because of Beryl or Raphael or heavy rain, then you should get the permit because you cannot produce. You should be able to bring it in so you can continue to supply the different distributors that you supply.
Hold on, Dr.
But it
Campbell.
can't be that a man that doesn't practice agriculture at all is the person getting the permit.
Hold on, Dr. Campbell. Hold on for me. Are you making a commitment to the people of Jamaica that when farm produce are short in Jamaica and we need to import, it will be the farmers that will be given that importation license?
I have said that before, and I'm saying it again, right? My interest is the Jamaican farmer and the Jamaican people.
Because that's how it ought to be.
I don't have any personal interest in these things. I am talking about agriculture. The commercial activity in rural Jamaica, there isn't a constituency in rural Jamaica where agriculture isn't the main employer of labor. It is at least 50% in every rural constituency. In both constituencies in Portland, both constituencies in St. Thomas, in St. Mary, in St. Anne, in Trelawney, in the hills of St. James, in Hanover, in Westmoreland, in St. Elizabeth, in Manchester, in Clarendon, in St. Catherine. In all of the rural constituencies, and St. Andrew, parts of St. Andrew. Once they are rural constituencies, agriculture is the main employer of labor. Sometimes up to 80% of the economic activity have to do with agriculture. It is how we are going to transform the rural communities and develop them, bring our people out of rural poverty. You see the numbers about poverty now? Rural poverty is almost 2 times what it is elsewhere.
Yes, because
you
agriculture is down by what, 14%?
Yes, by 12.5%.
12.5%.
You see crime and...
Dr. Campbell? Seems like we have lost Dr. Campbell. Let me try and get him back because this discussion is vital.
It's vital.
Yeah,
let me try.
Get back
Dr. Campbell.
Let me try and get back Dr. Campbell here because we have members of parliament sitting down in the parliament and is associated with the importation of food. Sir, yeah, man, I understand. So hold on for me. Let me get you back online. We have Dr. Campbell back. Go ahead, Dr. Campbell. You were talking about...
Look at the areas where we used to have heavy production of sugar, that we no longer have those activities. And look at the level of crime that has seeped into those areas.
Example, Westmoreland.
Right? So we need to ensure that we can get some of these young people to be interested in agriculture and we can go into technology, right? There's a possibility of a winter program, right? Where in the States and elsewhere, when it's snowing in the winter, they can't produce anything in it.
Right.
So some countries in South America supply all of their vegetables. You know that there's already pre-clearance in some of our facilities to be able to supply some of those items.
Oh, we're not doing it.
We're not doing it. We are importing instead, right? You see videos online of people with cabbage that appear to be almost plastic, right?
Dr. Campbell.
We can produce enough cabbage, lettuce, and those vegetables on hydroponic systems.
Dr. Campbell, a dozen ripe banana now is $1,000 Jamaican. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of it, and I saw last year we had a pound of tomato, sweet pepper, and those things also went over. As I saw a pound of lettuce recently for over $1,000.
So should we understand that the next PNP government will invest heavily in agriculture?
Heavily in agriculture. Agriculture will be a priority.
What have you learned, Dr. Campbell, from COVID? What have you learned from the COVID pandemic as it relates to agriculture?
I learned from COVID that, one, they should invest more in agriculture because our food security is vital. I also learned that we should not allow our planting materials to be imported. So borders and case and UE and other facilities that are there need to be able to develop our own planting materials, because we cannot have food security if we have to be dependent on some external source for seeds and planting materials. That cannot make sense.
So we're not developing any planting material for ourselves at this point?
Well, I have done tremendous research in agriculture. I hear the labor rights with their arrogant self saying that it's not my area of competence. By the way, I grew up on a farm. I'm actually a registered farmer. So I actually know agriculture, but I've done extensive research.
And you're a scientist, and your training
right,
is...
I am a scientist. I also have a law degree, so I understand the legislation quite well, right? So the issues that these persons are the other day I was doing some research to say, why don't we do proper soil testing and those things when we are going to plant, so we plant actually the right item in the right soil.
Yeah.
And I went to Fiscal.
Dr. Campbell is on the road, listeners
and
it took
viewers. About 4 weeks before I got back the results here.
You went to where?
Fiscal.
What's that?
The fertilizer company.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what you dropped out a while ago, so what research you was doing?
Soil testing.
Yes.
Went to Fiscal to do the soil testing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying they had to send it overseas, and it took more than 4 weeks for me to get back the results. That simple, basic thing like that. Here, somebody wants to go into agriculture. I have a piece of land. I want to do the soil testing so I can know what is in the soil and what would be the best crop to plant in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And to get that done, it has to be sent overseas, and I have to wait over a month in order to get back the results. Somebody in this country is not serious about agriculture. Somebody inside of this government is not serious about local agriculture and the development of it. How can we build agroparks, 1,950 hectares, and only 600 of it is under production? The rest of it is there idle.
So you're talking about 1,300 hectares.
It's just sitting there idling with the farm road in place, with the irrigation in place, with the drainage in place.
But that tells you why agriculture is down 12.5%.
And then they come to tell you that, we've built X amount of roads, and they compare to some obscene time in the past. Every child at 5 would take more steps than they did at 1. But the child should be running at 5.
Right.
You are supposed to judge yourself based on where you are to be in life, based on what the problem is. I am not going into agriculture to complain that in 1960 Bustamante did this and that. I don't care about what he did. I'm talking about what is the problem now, and what are the things that we need to do to fix it so that our people now can have a better future.
What are your planned growth for agriculture? What percentage you plan to grow the sector by?
Well, agriculture needs to contribute at least another 3% to the gross domestic product of the country.
Mm-hmm.
At least another 3% it needs to contribute. It currently contributes 9%. It needs to contribute at least another 3% in the short term. And over the long term, it can contribute much more than that. Because if you build out your local agriculture, you can go import, substitute, and export-led agriculture. There are some things that we have an advantage in, especially the spices.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have a Jamaican diaspora that is bigger than the people living in Jamaica.
Yes.
It's a larger number. They want the Jamaican produce. When they go in the supermarkets overseas, they want to see the Jamaican produce. They will buy it. You cannot provide enough breadfruit and ackee and those things to satisfy the demand that is there.
Some people will tell you that, as you mentioned it earlier before, that our youth or young people are not interested in agriculture. How are you going to get them interested?
I think a lot of it, as I said, has to do with adapting to newer technologies. And most of it is from lack of knowledge. When I say to people, all right, the cost of production from RADA for an acre of carrot is $300,000, Jamaica. You may need some irrigation. Irrigation per acre is another $300,000. So let's put it at $600,000.
Yeah.
When I say to a youngster, if you plant 5 acres, that's $3 million that you need to plant 5 acres. The yield that you're going to get from it, you're going to get about 8,000 kilograms from the acre, right? Let's multiply that by 2.1, but let's just call it 15,000 to make the math.
That's
so you get
16,000 pounds.
15,000 pounds, right? 5 acres, so that's 75,000 pounds. You can get a pound of carrot now for what? Sold for at least $200? All right, so you can work that out. 15,000 multiplied by 200 is how much? The 75,000 pounds multiplied by $200 is $15 million.
75,000.
Yeah, man. By $200 per pound is $15 million.
$15 million. Yes.
Yes, and you have spent $6 million for your cost of production.
So you're making easily over. You spend how much? 600,000.
You spend $6 million and you make
6 million.
15. That's $9 million profit.
So that's 150% profit.
Yes, and that's net profit because the cost of production includes everything, including harvesting and everything, right? And you know, it takes 3 months for the carrot to come to maturity. We're talking about planting 5 acres of carrot, making $9 million over a 3-month period. You could plant one time for the year, and you would have made $9 million for the year.
And you
or
could have
$750,000 per month.
So you're making more than a teacher.
Jamaica are earning that? Way more than a teacher. I spoke to a teacher when I made the proposal. A teacher from Floyd's constituency called me. Said that he's a math teacher and he left the classroom to plant onion. And he said that last year from onion, he made more money than he did his gross salary in 10 years of teaching.
Wow.
Add up his gross salary, not his net salary, his gross salary.
Right.
For 10 years of teaching. And in 1 year from planting onions, he made more than that. So these youngsters just need to be exposed to it. But what is the barrier? Those are the things that the fund that I'm talking about will fix. That youngster will fix you, but I can't find $3 million that don't have the land.
There you go.
So if the land is in the agro park, you make it available to them, and the fund put the money in the PC bank, and they can get the loan to go out there. They would be able to go out there and plant it.
Who going to secure that loan?
The loan is going to be secured against what they are producing. It is an investment, you know, in order for you to build out agriculture.
But are those
Every
legislation in place right now, Dr. Campbell?
You currently have PC Bank in some areas, but for the most of the time, you can't get anything from it.
Yeah, but to secure the loan with the produce that you are growing, that's future security. Is that in place now, or that's something that you are going to put in place?
So, some aspect of it is, but what we are doing is building it out so that the person can use the sale from their produce to pay back it. And I spoke to a former PS who told me that it was done years ago, where you could go ahead, give the person the loan, and when they supply the items to the purchaser sends the money to the bank, who then takes out the thing and then give the farmer their portion of it. And it worked perfectly. There was no issues with it. There were no issues with it.
So that's something that you're looking at going forward.
It's something that can be done, man. In every country in this world, farmers are given priority because people understand that if they can't feed themselves, they're at risk.
Well,
every other country knows that, right? Every single one. We are somehow in Jamaica focused on importation, wanting to distributing those permits because of the influence of persons who are on the government side doing it and to their cronies elsewhere, right? There are times when importation are needed. I've said that. I'm not being ridiculous. There are times when they are needed, but I'm saying in those times when they are needed, it should be from the same persons who are doing the production, who based on whatever event took place, weren't able to produce, and so they had to import to continue to supply to the purchasers.
Dr. Campbell, I like that part of the argument where you said that the people who normally produce, if they are unable to produce because of whatever reason, they are the ones who should get that permit, and not people who never plant a root of onion in them life getting the permit to import onion on this island.
Concrete farmers, I call it, right? Margin gatherers who are just trying to make money off the backs of people and not interested in agriculture. But let's use another example of what young people could do. If you give a youngster, let us say I'm giving a youngster a hydroponic system that can grow 2,500 plants, right? 2,500 plants. Mm-hmm. And that system comes to $2 million. Again, they could get that $2 million from the PC Bank when we put the fund. When we put the fund in place, they could get that loan through that facility. Mm-hmm. They're going to plant cabbage on it, right? Cabbage takes on the hydroponic system 10 weeks. So if you have 2,500 and you want to be able to reap weekly, you divide it by 10. So each week you're planting 250. Yes.
Right.
So each week you're planting 250. One of the cabbage comes out to 3 pounds. So you get 750 pounds of cabbage per week that you're reaping. The seedling, the cabbage seedling, is for like, if you're purchasing it, it's like $10 to $15 for one. Right? Let's work it at $10, 250 of them you're planting, so that's 2,500. Mm-hmm. What you need other than that is the 1,000 gallon tank of water, and you're going to do fertigation, so you need some other material, you're going to spray it. Going to take another 60 to bring it to maturity, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what it's 10 weeks, right? Fine. You now reap the cabbage and you have 750 pounds. How much is a pound of cabbage currently?
Not so much a pound of cabbage. Let's call it $150 a pound.
It's much more than that when you into the supermarket. I can tell you that.
I don't go supermarket nor market that I can help you with the price.
It's much more than that. It's much more than that. But let's say we work it at $200, right? Mm. That's 750 pounds multiplied by 200.
That's
right?
150,000.
150,000 per week.
Mm. Yeah, and if you're bringing that per week.
That youngster does not need anybody to work with him to run that system.
Malone can run
and
that.
And the beauty, him alone, right? He could even dress up like he's going to farm and work at daytime when he's there. Because you have ground covering, the system, the thing is not being planted in the soil, so you're not exposed to all of the pests that are coming from the soil. If you cover it, you cut down even the pests that are in the wind, right? You cut down the amount of spraying that you require. You spray less half the time, so you have less chemicals that's involved in the production of the item. And you would be able to earn $150,000 per week, and that's for a small system.
And the government is going to make funds available and lands available to people to do this.
But a hydroponic system is something that most people could set up in their yard, right to the side of their house.
Dr. Campbell.
Remember, in the hydroponic system, you know, if I decide at week 6 that I want to take out these cabbage off section and put them on a different section, I transplant them and they continue to grow immediately. You know?
Yes.
I don't have to try to catch back the root or anything.
Yes. But why are we not doing these now? People would ask.
In order for something to grow, it needs sunlight, nutrients, and water. That's all that you need.
Yeah. We're talking to Dr. Dayton Campbell, Shadow Minister on Agriculture. Dr. Campbell, RADA. A lot of farmers complain about RADA bitterly. Is there any changes that you would make to RADA going forward?
I didn't hear that.
RADA. A lot of farmers complain about RADA, that RADA really doesn't do much. Is there any changes that, are there any changes that you
RADA
make?
has to be revamped. RADA has to be revamped. I agree with the farmers that RADA currently doesn't do much. Not even sufficient technical advice is given
that is
at this point in time. There isn't any assistance that is given to farmers. I've heard some of them say they've asked for assistance with some of the basic things and they haven't gotten it. RADA is supposed to know how many farmers we have out there, what do they have on the production, how much will it yield, and at what time. And there has to be a central system inside the ministry that the minister can look at all times and know that in Jamaica currently, in this parish we have X amount of this, in this week, this amount will come in. Next week, that amount will come in. We have to have that. This is a day of information. Data is king. We need to ensure that extension officers have a smaller number of farms that they are responsible for and that they actually visit them.
And do some work there.
Yes, that they can actually give them the necessary technical advice that they need so that those persons can get better yield and better quality.
What about livestock farming, Dr. Campbell? What kind of interest you will be putting into livestock farming?
So a priority of ours will also be to see how we can, I don't want to go into everything because they're going to present some of them and say they were thinking about it before. But I'll give you one. One of the things that we want to do, out of that 1.379 billion US dollars that is currently the food importation bill, right. 140 million US out of that is for animal feed. So something that we want to do is to see how we can substitute 30% of that by planting sorghum and corn on the old sugar lands that we have, so that we can do a public-private partnership with an investor to produce the animal feed, at least 30% of that locally. And so that will lessen the cost of feed, which is one of the main inputs in especially like goats and small ruminant rearing. And poultry as well is one of the main inputs, is the feed cost.
All right, Dr. Campbell, so much for agriculture, but as the General Secretary of the People's National Party, Jamaica's main opposition party, this is 2025, an election year. Is the PNP ready for an election?
The PNP is fine-tuning the machinery. So put it this way, an election has to be announced and then there's a campaign. We are, in my opinion, I think we are ready for the states that we are.
Okay.
So if you are running a race, 100-meter race, and you intend to run 10 seconds, after 80 meters, you want to get to 80 meters by about 8 seconds into the race. So that's what I mean. We are ready for the section of where we are in the race. And should be able to get to the finish line with the desired outcome that we want. There is some fine-tuning that is going in place. We are ensuring that workers are in place, that they are trained, motivated, ready to work, that we have identified our supporters, and that they are also motivated to come out, that our candidates have the appropriate message to give to them, that they have put their resources in place, that they have the appropriate plans and they're on the road. Our spokespersons also have a road program and are on the road. As you can see, when I made that proposal, I was in St. Elizabeth last week.
Yes.
And this coming week, I'll be in Clarendon. Yesterday, Natalie was out in Hanover. Last week, Azan was out in St. Anne. And, so different persons are on the road at a different day. And so I think we're getting there. We have a plan. I've always said from day one that we have a plan as to how to get to where we need to be. And at this point in time, I'm comfortable that we'll be able to achieve our target.
All candidates are in place?
There is a replacement for Central Kingston that will happen in a matter of days.
Can you tell us who that replacement is going to be?
You'll hear shortly.
So that's the only one outstanding, Central Kingston?
Yes, that's the only one outstanding.
Who is running against the Prime Minister?
Paul Buchanan.
Okay. Dr. Dayton Campbell, we wish you all the best going forward, my brother. All the best for the new year. We wish you victory in the upcoming general election.
Yeah, man, thanks much. I just want to say all the best to you and your family as well, your listeners, and to remind the Jamaican farmers, the local farmers, the people in Jamaica that are trying to produce and feed this nation, that help is on the way. There is an administration that will not allow your business to die, your livelihood to die, because they're trying to support their own interests. There's an administration that will put your interests first and ensure that you can feed your family whilst you feed the nation.
Have you looked at how much acres of farmlands are available, Dr. Campbell, that is not in production right now?
I'm doing the research, seeing how many with SCJ. Also, I'm an advocate that we should not give away our arable land to housing. So I think that the lands on the flat that are the arable land should be allowed to be used for agriculture, like Bernard Lodge and those places.
Where we're planting concrete.
Can include mechanization into the farming. But when you push the farmers onto the hill, then they get a lot of landslide, and you're not able to use the machinery, and you can't modernize it in the way that you want to. So we are checking that, because land reform is also a critical component of the plan that we have for agriculture. Only 12% of the arable lands in Jamaica are currently irrigated. That is something that also needs to change, and change quickly.
All right, my brother. Blessings, my comrade. One love.
All right, man. Peace.
Give thanks. Dr. Dayton Campbell, my people, the opposition spokesman on agriculture and the general secretary
Take the break. When we come back,
of the People's National Party. Let me thank him for joining us this morning. And of course, let me thank the people on TikTok. We're live on TikTok this morning too, Colin SHACKAFAME Bell on TikTok this morning, because earlier this week I posted a video on TikTok. The video was talking about the government saying that they're not borrowing. Listen to this clip.
Like Mr. Golding's party, the Holiness administration is able to
Hold on.
Minister Morgan also came out swinging, saying that unlike Mr. Golding's party, the Holiness administration is able to undertake extensive road repair projects without borrowing.
The reason the government is able to do this while previous governments, of which Mr. Golding was a part, were unable to do it, is because of how we have managed the economy. We have managed the economy in a way where, for the first time in a very long time, the government has been able to spend money to uplift the country without having to borrow.
You hear that? I want to play it again.
Minister Morgan also came out swinging, saying that unlike Mr. Golding's party, the Holiness administration is able to undertake extensive road repair projects without borrowing.
The reason the government is able to do this while previous governments, of which Mr. Golding was a part, were unable to do it, is because of how we have managed the economy. We have managed the economy in a way where, for the first time in a very long time, the government has been able to spend money to uplift the country without having to borrow.
So, Marlon Morgan, and we have heard the Prime Minister say it as well, that the works that the GLP is doing, the government is doing, that they have not borrowed any money to do it. Listen to this. And that clip was on Thursday on Nationwide. Thursday of this week, the 9th. Listen to this.
Now the details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion or 2.2. Now the details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion or 2.2% more than projected for. Some $55 billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and $46.49 billion from the external sources.
So, talk to me. The government has been borrowing money. Call me on 804-7072. 804-70. Call me on 804-7072 if you want to talk live on the air. That's the number. So, the government of Jamaica has been sending out this narrative that they are not borrowing any money. Now, Ralston Hyman has been a regular contributor to this program. And we have had Ralston Hyman on this program time after time. Time after time. And Ralston has been educating us. I've been telling us that the government of Jamaica has been borrowing extensively. For those of us who follow the news, we will also hear on a weekly basis that they float government bonds. Some of it to mop up liquidity, meaning that What they are saying is that too much cash is out there, and therefore they want to remove some of the cash from out of the economy. So instead of people buying the US dollar, they ask them to buy bonds so as to ease the pressure of the Jamaican dollar. We're taking your calls on 804-7072. So those of you on TikTok who are run off of the mouth from week, I talk about a whole clip them. The financial years from April to March every year. And I want to play about this clip here from RGR. That's when I hear when the money was borrowed. Let me hear when the money was borrowed.
Now the details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion, or 2.2% more than projected for. Some $55 billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and $46.49 billion from the external sources.
So, part of it they got in the local market. That's how they do the stocks. That's how they sell government paper to get some of that money. Yeah? So, to all those people who don't understand the economy, if you don't understand it, you can call us and we can help you, you know. We can help you to understand. Because we realize that a lot of people who are talking don't understand it. Morning, welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Colin.
Yes, morning.
Morning.
Talk
Listen
to me.
to me. DJLP, not dispute where RGR put out.
They can't dispute it. It's just some little fools on TikTok who don't know nothing, who don't understand the thing.
No, we know enough of them void of understanding, you know. Enough of them void of understanding. Because if RGR says something like that and not true, if Ralph stands or something like that and not true, them have a parakeet will run up and down all over the place. Ali Button would have come out and dispute it already, you know.
Alberta soon touch you. Yeah. No, but look here. They can't dispute it. And what I would love to happen is for Favor Williams to come out and explain. Because, you see, I can't manage some of the liars, them, you know. Some of them are just blatant liars. They just come out and lie.
Me afraid to walk and drive from Bradley Avenue. Because certain people up there are just straight lie. If them tell life and ice no melt. They just lie.
But Carla, in the budget, you know, all the money where they are borrowing at the budget as well.
But what hold on now, Colin, tell me something. They talk about how they manage the economy well. And they have money to fix road, they have money to buy buses, and they have money to buy garbage truck. Mighty God, you have some simple machine where them to buy the hospital to save life.
No, but that now go create.
And you can't buy them there?
That now go create no big store. Them are try to create the big political store. So them say them buy 100 buses. But when they say they buy 100 buses, how many people realize that in 2016 JUTC had 460 buses? Right now, JUTC about 240 buses. So they have defunded the JUTC. Yes. And that's why they had to buy 100 buses one time.
Look, man. But that's called bad management. But let me ask you a question, Colin. There's an information minister in the government?
Yes, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon.
You mean Dora?
I don't know if she did that. Maybe you know her as a child. That's why you know.
But hold on, Nick. Can she give any information? When last year she giving any information? When last?
Well, she does give some information, but is it credible, or are they being questioned about the information that they put forward?
Is the parrot me run up and down all over the place, you know?
Oh, the Ali Button man? What you call Ali Button?
Ali Button.
No, man, he might get one of the Senate seat coming.
But hold on, him I got challenge because him have got challenge George Davis to get it, you know. Remember, Sir George Davis I work for that also over from the incubator, you know.
I don't know if he's working for it, but let's see. There are 2 Senate seats to be filled. It's not one, it's 2.
Let me tell you something. You know what? I still think George Davis is worse than Ali Button, you know. Those guys that
is who named George Davis? I don't know how name sir.
One of the lad them from over nationwide, man. He always twist a story. Him and him crew them.
Well,
George Davis, them twist story.
Well, what we know for sure is that the government is borrowing. And let me just explain to some people because
me come Colin. Them not dispute it. Them over nationwide can't dispute it. And the government can't dispute it. And Ali Button will run up and down. Can't dispute it.
But my brother, Cliff Hughes.
Minister Morgan also came out swinging, saying that unlike Mr. Golding's party, the Holiness administration is able to undertake extensive road repair projects without borrowing.
The reason the government is able to do this while previous governments, of which Mr. Golding was a part, were unable to do it is because of how we have managed the economy. We have managed the economy in a way where, for the first time in a very long time, the government has been able to spend money to uplift the country without having to borrow.
No, when a journalist sit down, repeat that and don't question it, what do you say about that journalist?
You should stop listening to that idiot. Because the story where the man, oh my God, me can't even find the adjective to you for this. But you really sit down and listen. I want to send that out to the people. I take the people for idiots so much. They take the people for idiots. You know, you see them take all the statement where Dayton Campbell make. You realize what them are twist it and are go on with it.
Well, they're looking for something to ride on. And they got hint of something to ride on because they are behaving like nobody can make no mistake. And there's also this 2% going around. Dayton Campbell never said that he's going to put on a 2% tax on anything.
But hold on a little bit. When the Ali Button man talk about hardship, and then me hear the agriculture minister Floyd Green talk about hardship on the consumer. They really know about hardship on the consumer.
They know them put it on there, of course they know about it.
And coming to talk like said that them didn't make things easy for anybody. Eh?
They know about the hardship.
They said they raise minimum wage. And we want to ask Clive Green and Halliburton man, before they raised the minimum wage to where it was and to where it is now, which time the minimum wage worker was better off? Them the better off before it increased. Because the inflation where them put on from people, with that. Half the people them in a minus right now. It's pure nonsense them going on with. And just before I leave, one of the plans, they send out more to raid certain place. Then what they know nothing to find, you know. But what you do? You put something in the mind of people. They go campaign. Because then take the Jamaican vote of food. It's time that they learn that we have better sense than what they are doing.
But I hope though that if there's something for Mocha to find, that they will find it.
Of course.
They need to find it, because we need to stop the level of corruption in this country. The level of corruption in this country needs to stop, my brother.
The details.
The
government of
Let me say something to you before I go. And people must be careful where they are. I was going somewhere on a certain occasion, and me and a young lady, we were walking through a truck. It's a bushy place. And I tried to frighten the young lady. And I said to the young lady, "See what old man, I bush look for you there." And I said that for a joke, and my God, a man was bend down at the bush and I relieve himself, and I never see the man. Me tell a lie, we become true.
You're serious?
Yeah.
What you say?
These politicians better be careful where they must say and where they must go. Because they might even call it down on them oneself. Have a great day, yes, sir.
Blessings, my brother. Thanks. Thanks for the call.
Yeah.
You know, I decided to play the RGR clip on screen so that people can see the date.
Borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year.
Hold on.
Now the details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion or 2.2% more than projected for. Some $55 billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and $46.49 billion from the external sources.
So, if you look at your screen, you can see the date, because we are ensuring that what we carry is accurate. We're not trying to bamboozle nobody down here, so. Round here, so, we talk about truth. That is our mantra round here, so. The truth and nothing but the truth. You understand? Now, I have been telling you all that agriculture is one of the things that we need to focus on to move this country forward. We have to learn to feed ourselves. Yeah? And until we can feed ourselves, we are going to be in trouble. Trouble. If we can't feed ourselves, it's pure trouble we are going in. We have to feed ourselves. So, now listen to people with them foolishness that we can just sit down as a country and import food. And when we have the next epidemic or pandemic, then we in our position where starvation come upon the land. Because we saw it in COVID, where to ship food to this country became a major problem. 804-7072, talk to me.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah, man.
I'm calling from Canada.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to Dayton.
Yes.
Yes, what I want Dayton to do, because what Dayton is speaking is a gospel. And that's the only way to get Jamaica out of the problem that we are in.
The only way.
I want Dayton to speak up more. Go to all of the farming communities and speak.
Yeah, man, I'm listening to you now.
Because I know for a fact, as a former government worker, one in senior management, the people who get import license are people who are in higher echelon of society. And one of the things that Colin should do is to go to the customs department and ask them who have been getting these government licenses. And it must be made public.
You heard what Dayton said? That there are MPs in the parliament right now that are involved in the importation of food into this country. One minister's son is involved in
MPs.
One minister's son is involved in the importation of rice into this country.
Colin, the Jamaican people must have full information.
We need it.
They need to know who are these people. I mean, Colin, you see the election coming up.
Yeah.
It's a very critical election.
Very.
It's more important than when we got independence.
But you have a lot of blinds, in this country who are not seeing the importance. You have a lot of blinds in this country who believe that this government is doing well. And when we tell them that the country is in a recession, some of them don't understand and them soon find out.
Colin, it is our duty as patriots to go to the hills and valleys and all the small areas, the inner city, the rural areas, and talk to people, sit down at the local bars have meeting, town hall meeting, and tell people the truth.
Yes.
We're not campaigning, we are just telling people the truth.
All right, my brother. Respect. Thanks for the call.
And Colin, respect everything you're doing.
Yes,
and
man.
We
Big up.
want that. We want
All right.
information to poor people.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Bless up. One love. 804-7072. We're taking your calls. We're taking your calls. Let me return this call, yeah.
Hello.
Albert, morning.
How are you, my brother?
I'm good in a wagwan.
Why, I trust I find you well.
Happy New Year, my brother. All the best for 2025.
Same to you. I hope you have your shoes properly laced.
Lace up and ready. Well, I am on the play field. I am on the ball field, you know. I am on the field.
Oh, you're on the ball. Okay.
Yes, man. I am on the field.
No problem. No problem. I wish that your police officers who serve you well will be far more comfortable than the video that I see circulating.
Oh God, you want that video there? My. Somebody, I have a friend who say a whole heap of foolishness are going in a vast land.
No, but I cannot understand the man that is being dubbed as action man. Have that happening around him. Because they say that they own Portland.
Yes.
Well, if that is how they treat where they own, I want to know how they treat the rest of people that they don't own. But anyway, Colin, better thing than that. I saw a video.
Now we big bad station.
You with me?
Yes, man.
I saw a video that you did, and I must commend you for the excellent work that you have put in it.
Oh, you mean that video on TikTok?
Yes.
Talk
to me. You tell the country. And I mean, I don't know the labor right them feel, but I mean, I have never seen a situation, and let me say it, I'll be 78 this year, where the leadership of the country can lie to the people in the way that Andrew and his crony is doing it. When you repeat what they said, they're doing everything without any borrowing. I would like somebody to classify what borrowing means, because you quoted RGR, not verbally, you carry the newscast. So nobody could say you add or subtract anything.
Not at all.
Of what,
let me just,
RGR said.
Albert, hold on, Albert. Hold on for me. Let me explain to my listeners and viewers. RGR 7 o'clock news every morning, they have what is called a financial report. This clip that I'm going to play is from the financial report on RGR 94 FM. This was read Thursday morning by Derek Wilkes. Here goes.
The details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion, or 2.2% more than projected for. Some $55 billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and $46.49 billion from the external sources.
So, you hear what the news say? 2% more than it was projected for. So, there was a projection in the budget to borrow this money. So, April to November, they borrowed $2 point something billion more than they had projected for. And Ralston told us that the projection for the borrowing for this financial year, the financial year is April to March, not January to December. So the financial year not finished yet from last year. Going to finish in March.
That's correct.
So Ralston told us that
approximately 3 months.
Ralston told us that the projection is $260 billion they're going to borrow. Now, let me make something clear, because we are on TikTok this morning as well, Albert, and I deliberately went on TikTok this morning to educate some people. A man said that in one of the comments that the man on Nationwide was talking about borrowing for roads. No, the only money that the country borrow that have specific responsibility that is aimed directly at something is what you borrow from IMF. Now, these money were not borrowed from the IMF. So all the money goes into the budget, and it is from the budget that the money comes to fix the road. So you could say then you borrow to pay a teacher. You could say you borrow to pay a nurse. But you could also say you borrow to pay a teacher and you borrow to pay a nurse. And I could say to you, you borrow to fix the road because the budget of $1.38 trillion was not fully funded. 1 trillion was funded from taxes and earnings from Jamaica. The other 3.8 billion, we're going to have to borrow it. And when you borrow, everything goes into one. So the funds are commingled.
One pot.
Right? So it's out of the same pot of money we are use the $48 billion to fix the road, brother. Understand that. Albert, continue.
No. But you see, I said, and I mean, let me probably apologize to my listeners who don't understand. When you really look at the whole thing, when a prime minister when go around chit-chatting all around the place, then he must tell us specifically what the money that he borrow do.
Yeah.
Because if it's not going on nobody's pocket, and we are not saying going to anybody's pocket, where the rest of the money come from, what him do with it. And I mean, him have one little man repeat after me. The same station that said the borrowing told us in a newscast, I think Monday evening, that there was a shortfall in the government collection of revenue.
Of about $7 point something billion.
Correct. And my comrade leader make mention of it in a meeting in East Rural. And Cliff Hughes played it clip Tuesday morning. I said, my comrade leader is lying. There was no shortfall. No, when we have supposable journalists who is supposed to inform the younger generation who don't know better, and they line up with politicians to lie to the people, it is a national disgrace.
Big time. Big time.
National disgrace.
We have to start telling the people the truth.
And I find it strange that the church, civil society, and the privileged sons of Jamaica hug it up and not highlighting the truth to the people. You don't have to take a political stand. Just speak the truth. That's what we were told as a little kid. Speak the truth.
But you know,
the church will pray and do that. Where are we heading?
You know what is going to be their problem, Albert? What we have in Jamaica is a lot of analog politicians living in this digital age. And let me show you what happened when analog politicians in this digital age go on. Listen this, Albert. Listen this. I'm going to play this again.
Minister Morgan also came out swinging, saying that unlike Mr. Golding's party, the Holiness administration is able to undertake extensive road repair projects without borrowing.
The reason the government is able to do this while previous governments, of which Mr. Golding was a part, were unable to do it is because of how we have managed the economy. We have managed the economy in a way where, for the first time in a very long time, the government has been able to spend money to uplift the country without having to borrow.
All right, so that's an analog politician. Let me show you now what the digital age does to those analog politicians.
The details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion, or 2.2% more than projected for. Some $55 billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and $46.49 billion from the external source.
All right, so that's the digital age, Albert. Me now have to go down a RJR. Go beg them the clip. The clip is available on the RJR podcast.
But let us say that we move on a little from there just to educate the public some more, Shaka. Do you realize that there's this oof and cry about us taxing food coming into the country? Do you know that Miss Matty, we part of sell a little pot of soup, a friendship gap, and who are selling little crab on a crab circle, is subsidizing the big merchant of Jamaica? Let me explain to you why.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you why. Just this week, don't even go into last year, just this week, the Bank of Jamaica put in $60 million US.
To defend the dollar?
To defend the dollar. That is taxpayers' money you're using.
Yes. Yes.
So Miss Matty, little money around there, she is paying to defend the dollar for the big business of this country too. You with me?
Of course.
So when they boast, they must understand that there are some of us who listen not only to the noise that they make, but to the information that we need to guide us going forward. And I am saying, can you imagine if they did not use taxpayers' money to defend the dollar, where the man with them said Dr. Onis was saying, oh, the people government was mapping up money, only mapping up Shaka. Them have, I think, sucking it up.
Every Jamaican,
and
Albert.
It must be told.
Every Jamaican pays a part of the struggle that we are going through. Every single one of us.
Undoubtedly.
But some people refuse from understanding what is in this country, what is happening to this country, and don't want to understand. The country crashed. The GLP has mashed up the economy again. Second time around. Again.
Second time around that you know, but it's more than the second time around.
Well, we just talking about in recent time, between 2012, between 2007 and 2012, they crashed it.
Right.
And now they are crashing it again.
And Shaka, let me leave with this one. We learned this early in the days. There's none so blind as those who don't want to see.
But
we have a responsibility to tell the public what is happening. We have that responsibility and we must not back off from it.
All right, my brother. Respect.
We must not back off from it.
Thank you,
Have a
Albert.
good day, my brother. Take care. All right.
804-7072. Talk to me. Turn off your instrument and listen to your phone. Talk to me.
Morning.
Turn off your instrument. Yeah, man. Turn off your instrument and listen to your phone.
Yeah, man. Morning.
Yes, man. Welcome.
All right. So, SHACKAFAME, we realize yeah, I don't want to look a spin or twisting. And if members, everybody listen to you. How enough people listen to you?
Wait, so I had a little
listen to you.
I had a little spin.
Yeah, man, yeah, spin the thing. I'm not sure it. Well, I'm not sure it.
Okay.
Right? Cool. So the other day one time there was over Port Royal, the water thing when them do over Port Royal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where that money came from?
The budget.
No, give me that. It have to come from the budget. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they did specifically name where it come from, where the money come from.
Where it came from?
Specifically need I know. Right? But
hello?
If I recall, I'm gonna answer you. right? I remember directly, but the money came from something have to do with the waterers, right? I not even remember specific, but I'm just trying to show you what you're doing.
But try and
Well,
remember.
I know, man. But can't find it. The thing is, I don't really follow politics away there, you know. The reason I listen to, you know, I'm telling you, the politicians kind of a beat if you all on both sides. Because when I do, when I play upon people, ignorance. You hear me I say?
May I listen to you because I want you to tell me when me I speak.
When I play upon people, ignorance. All right, well, look at this now, right? So, if persons are speaking specifically on a topic, and them say, all right, yo, let's say I have this amount of money in my household, I pay my light bill and my water bill. And I come out and say, I use the money I have to pay the light bill and the water bill. I'm going to borrow the money to pay the water bill and light bill. Am I lying that I didn't borrow the money to pay that?
If you're lying?
Yeah.
It depends. Because if you...
No,
you ask a question. Let me answer you.
Yeah, but you're trying to change it.
No, let me answer your question.
Right, go on.
Let me answer your question. If you have your household, you have light bill, you have water, you have food bill, right? Let me go stop it at the tree. All three of them come together, work out to be $1,000 a month, right? You're earning from your job is $700 a month.
Right.
You go to the bank and you borrow $300 to make up the $1,000, right? And you come to me now and you pay off all your bills. So you pay the water rate, you pay the light, and you pay the food bill. And you come to me now and say, me never borrow to pay my light bill. Is that fully true?
Right. All right. So I know that answer the question. No, it wouldn't be fully true if I put it in that sense. But look at this now. What if before I was borrowing to pay everything?
Then you'd be in a better position. You're not borrowing to pay everything
so
again.
No,
you don't understand, man. Relax.
Just allow me to make the point.
No, man, relax. No, but you're not making the full point on my show. You know, make the full point.
I'm not sure, but the thing is,
no, listen, hold on a little bit.
Hold on a little bit. Asking us to call in.
Hold on a little bit now, but listen, but you have to listen to. The government put a budget forward of $1.38 trillion. You know that?
Yeah,
1.38 trillion. They said to us,
they
said to us that $1 trillion is where we are collecting our taxes from the people and where we earn like from export and them kind of something, right? The other $3.8 trillion, we are going to borrow $260 billion out of that. It's one budget, you know, right? No. Oh, you're going to come to me now and tell me, say, you're not borrow for fixed road. Explain that to me.
Yeah, thank you. Allow me to talk, right? All right, thank you. So the thing is, it's simple as this. If me before, every single thing in my household, when me used to take care of, right? Or so let's say majority of it then, right? Let's say a majority of things in my household I used to take care of by borrowing to pay it. And me come to the point where we can have less items in my household and we need to borrow pay for. And we decide to specify on some of the items them say, okay, this is an improvement for me now because now I can pay my light bill without borrowing that money to pay the light bill because we improve some farmer a money system to do that. And them do that. Again, you know, the thing is, I'm not even like politicians, you know, but the thing is, when people try to use people to be as if they're ignorant and stupid, and the major people, where people use them, these things on, are people basically actually don't really have a lot of knowledge, but there are people out there that has knowledge basically that don't fall for these rubbish. So the thing is, now I'm going to sit down and just make to talk and give a damn about politics. But really and truly, it is clear as day that politicians, I want to say, only call it what? Politics and not play. You can't only love people and not play politics with people.
Let me ask you a question.
You cannot do that.
Let me ask you a question. Is the government of Jamaica borrowing?
I don't deny that. You can't say that they're borrowing the money. I don't think they deny that. I think that they're saying that for the project that they're doing, come on, Shaka,
okay.
Come on. When the Prime Minister, when the Prime Minister talk about the water, the thing about Port Royal, I'm sure many the thing them to speak on it specifically, you know. When you speak on that specific project, he said for that specific project, the money came from here, and they didn't borrow it. They're
All
speaking
right.
on specific project.
Hold on. Now go play that tape here for you because some of the money where them borrow at Jamaica, them borrow it, you know. The government don't only borrow from overseas, you know.
The man speak and tell you which part the money came from.
Where it come from? Where it come from?
All right, you what? Try to find the something and play it.
No, man, you are telling me something, you know.
The thing.
I am saying to you. Hold on.
I tell you, but my nose says it's.
But let me tell you.
From NW, I think at the NWS or something like that. I don't remember specifically.
Let me tell you, my brother. The money came from the budget. Jamaica have one budget.
Aaron, you're being dishonest, bro. I'm gonna tell you this. I say, I'm man of God. I'm gonna tell you that you in yourself, if you have a conscience, you know that yourself have a conscience that you're being dishonest. Just like the other one, them come out and tell other things, and they are dishonest in coming back and try to pretend it to call it politics.
I would want to suggest something to you. I want to suggest something to you. Go and do a little more research and come back before you start calling people names. All right?
Just remember, say God remember everybody. Yeah.
And him remember you too. Just remember that.
Of course.
804-7072. Morning. Mystical. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Shaka. Enough of that, you know, man.
Yeah, man, you're kind of a little bit low.
Me?
Yeah.
Pump it up. You hear me now?
Me, I hear you, but you're low. All right, let me turn you up. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. How are you, son?
I am doing well. Extracted a tooth yesterday, so I don't know if anybody realized that I not talk like how I normally talk.
Yeah, but you're supposed to increase the discomfort with that kind of conversation. Because,
Can I tell you? Can I tell you?
Yeah, when people are not willing to learn and then they come and polish it out about you're a man of God, what have you said since morning? Yeah?
You see, let me tell you.
A grain of truth.
Let me tell you this though, Mystical. Yeah? When fools talk, they think that only fools are listening.
Yeah, man, but they mustn't come on the ear and disgrace themselves, you know, because the exuberance must be backed up by knowledge, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
And specificity. You can't come and accuse somebody of being disingenuous and you cannot point out clearly where the person has been disingenuous. Come on, man. And then you are putting a lot of flurry to your argument and escalating that, you know, to impress the hearts of people. You're making a fool of yourself when you can't come and counteract. When you come to counteract, man, come with solid, specific.
Well, one thing I can tell you, Mystical. Yeah. One thing I can tell you is 99% of the listeners on this platform are well educated, well versed, and have a good understanding of the issues. That's the 1% that don't have the understanding.
Yeah. The man is just abusing his mind, you know, and polarizing his mind, because if he's not absorbed in polarist politics, then I mean, it is something else, yeah.
The government
defending the indefenseless.
The government of Jamaica have one budget, and all the works that the government is undertaking right now comes from that one budget of $1.38 trillion. Once you are borrowing to finance the budget, you can't specify, you can't point out any item and tell me, say, you're not borrow for pay that and you're not borrow for fix that. You are borrowing to finance the budget. So the budget that pays teachers, nurses, doctors, fix your roads, run your school, run your prisons, run your hospital, all of that is one budget, and you are borrowing to finance that budget. So to come and tell the people that you are not borrowing to fix road, that is what is disingenuous. That is what is conning the people of the country.
That is not disingenuous. That's a lie and deception.
A blatant lie.
Yeah. So we don't put it in any other term, but that the blatant, dishonesty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you just hold your little space and learn, and don't defend anything that cannot be defended, because it's going to turn out that you are making a fool of yourself. You know, one love, man. It's all love on the platform, you know.
Yes,
One love
man.
for you, one love for all. Yeah.
Blessings and
Now,
all the best.
Shaka,
All the best for the new year.
Yeah, man. So peace be upon you. Yeah.
One
I
love,
just wanted
brother.
to sign off with your time has expired.
No, man, go ahead.
Yeah. So a lot of items on the menu, you know, and I was rather impressed with the articulate way in which the Dr. Campbell would have expressed, matters concerning his portfolio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
impressive.
and as things prevail in this space right now, and has prevailed for a long time, to be honest, you know, where there has been no movement. Yeah, there has been, movement in a sensible, conscientious way.
Right.
In order to
hold on, let me just take this call. Hold on, Mr. Carl. Hello, good morning.
Colin, may I have to touch back base with you?
Hold on, I'm coming back to you. Hold on. Go ahead, Mr. Carl, finish up.
Yeah, the indigenous prosperity that we seek.
Yes.
To obtain in Jamaica. Yeah. But I want to just herald this background, you know, yeah, because history is the ultimate indicator and explanator of intent, you know, yeah. So what do I mean? So you look at presidents, right, and you can determine from your examination and this is a comprehension, yeah, of presidents, yeah, the intention of SHACKAFAME or Mr. is consistent with his history and what he is. He's a liar, he's a murderer, yeah. Yeah, he is someone who believes in a kind of politics, his philosophy is grounded in the unmoved position, on social and economic and historical and philosophical matters, So no matter where I come from, I come from 1 to 1,000, it's going to be the same yesterday, today, and forever. So we're not moved and fooled by anything that is not being done or being done in a cosmetic way and in an optic way, so as to create an impression that we are moving on. What am I saying? I'm saying that nothing has been done fundamentally to move agricultural production in this country and to avail to the people of this country, whereby we can be self-sustainable in crop production. So we have to spend fully our money on bringing food, at our own expense, and support the family and the economy of a few people. And those who are given the power to govern at the same time, they are plundering and depriving the people that they represent, of a future and of an opportunity, to realize greatness. You see the people who used to run this colony here, the people who say you run this colony were the richest people and they were the greatest employers of labor. What enterprise do you used to run? Agriculture. So agriculture is the foundation of the industrialization of Europe. To make Europe great economy. It was agriculture on the backs of our bare head and our bare hands and our bare feet. So now that we are in a new era where we are more enlightened and so-called free, it must be seen that our freedom is in our head, our hands, and our feet, and we are transforming this country to the benefit of those who have built foreign land, and we are still building foreign land because we're sending out farm workers there. We're still importing. You know what I'm saying?
We're buying their food.
The biggest and the richest people in North America and Europe are farmers. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So why we can't be the richest? Why we can't be the best? So everybody is enriching themselves, artificially and cosmetically, when we are kept on the grind, and the resources are kept from us to make us rich and to make us great. Look at that, man. We talk about another time.
Bless up, my brother. One love.
Bless up.
One love. Mr. Carl. Yes, caller, go ahead. Hello? We had a caller holding. Caller, morning. Let me tell you this. If you believe that the government is not borrowing to finance the budget, you're a dunce, a stupid fool. And I'll tell you that this morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, Colin, me get cut. But me not stay with you long.
Go ahead, man.
In school, they teach me about positive, comparative, and superlative. Right?
Yes.
Good. And them say in life you have 3 levels of idiots. And the superlative is this one, I will call it last.
Yeah.
You have idiot, damn idiot, and damn blasted idiot. Well, I call her to ago. You know, the superlative of idiot is damn blasted idiot.
The man say him not understand politics, sir. Him say him not understand. It is not politics that you called to talk a while ago. It's economics. So that is what you don't understand, economics.
Well, listen to me. You listen to the poem Desiderata. And it's a line in it says, listen to the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. And you were listening to that part. I hear that have a story, but let me tell you something. The man killed the program, you know.
Oh, that young man there?
Yes.
No.
He was trying to kill the program.
Trying.
With his idiotic argument.
But Marsh, as I tell people, most of the people on this platform, 99% of the people on this platform are intelligent people who understands the issue. He's listening and him not understand the issue and he's confused. Now what he should have done is call and ask some questions and ask for explanation and clarity. And would give you that clarity, but then you are going to come here and try and tell us that I am lying and I am disingenuous. It is the government that you support, my brother, who is lying to you and who is disingenuous. But then you can do the research. Go do the research and find out how much the government of Jamaica is borrowing to finance the budget.
I said something earlier and I am willing to say it again. And I will ask the parakeet, or let's be decent. I will ask Marlon Marga. I will ask the finance minister, Faval Williams, the prime minister. We'll ask them, dispute it now. Dispute what RGR put out.
No, but
simple as that. Dispute that.
But Marsh, what RGR put out is not the full sum that the government is borrowing, you know. That's a part of it. The government this year is going to be borrowing $265 billion, not $102 billion.
Exactly. And as you rightly put out, the financial year not finished yet.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
So some more things left.
And let me tell them something further that is going to hurt them. The country is now in a recession. And we are telling you before it is announced, it's not announced yet, it's going to announce sometime in February.
Hey, no, I don't tell you something, Colin. From all the weird where the country heading, when they were saying the country heading in a recession, even the great Ralston Hyman, I wish to say this to him, that he was soft on it. He was soft on it. The country in recession a long time ago.
Well, we have the third quarter. The third quarter, the country declined, the economy declined by 3.5%. We are not sure what the decline is going to be in the fourth quarter, but we know that there's going to be a decline. A recession, 2 quarters of decline equals a recession. So, who are wait and behave like Ray? Well, we are telling you from now that the country is in a recession. It has not been officially announced by the government or by Statin, but by February, it will be announced.
Yes. Well, Colin, listen to this. If you are spending more than you are earning, it's either by borrowing, or you're thieving, or you're selling drugs. It's simple. A simple little householder can tell you. The housewife, she can't spend more than what the husband give her. Unless she do something on the side, unless she keep a man on the side, or whatever, if you're spending more than you're earning, you are going to be in big trouble. You know?
All right, brother
I
Marsh.
want them these people understand when you talk about debt to GDP, what it really means.
They don't understand.
You can't spend more than you earn. If you spend more than you earn, you're borrow, or you're about to borrow, or you're being promised, and you start. You know something? Do you think? You hear, sir? Do you think? Do you think? I can't waste time on these guys.
All right, brother. Respect. 804-7072. I think we had missed some calls. Let me see if I can. 804-7072. Good morning. Welcome to Portland Spice TV.
Good present 2025, Mr. Bell, and your family and your viewers and guests.
Thank you.
Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
Do you know the reason why Mr. Andy Wallace can have 28 account?
No,
and nobody support that, have no problem with it? And they
no, hold on. Don't say nobody have no problem with it, but some people have problem with it.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. The liberal, most liberals don't have any problem with it. You know why?
Tell me.
Do you know why? When Dennis Gardner come up about the billing, a lot of PMP calling on Mark Golden to ask him to step aside. You know why?
Talk to me.
One of the people is dunks, so they don't understand what is right from wrong. And one of the people is right, so they know what is right from wrong.
And some of them are just downright devious and dishonest.
Well, both of them travel, dishonest and dunks travel close together.
All right. No, not necessarily.
Right?
Not necessarily. You have some people who are just dishonest. And like the caller earlier said, because them think them bright and know a little something, them try bamboozle the people.
No one.
And that's why the government...
That are papacy bright. Mr. Bell, that are papacy bright.
All right. I hear you.
That are papacy bright. They're not smart. They're bright, but they're not smart. Two did be smart is like what Andy was doing with them now. How smart them all the while. Like what he tried to do with moving some 6 months before Integrity released a report from the company. That's smart. That's street smart in using. And his people, we don't understand it. Right? Oh, anywhere in the world, a country have input to feed their nation is a debted country. That
I hear you, my brother.
Anyway, after a long time, I called you something a few months ago. I tell you, there's one way out of this country is to finance our farmers to feed the nation.
You heard Dayton Campbell this morning?
Yes, sir. When I hear, I remember me have the same thing where we talk about Michael Mann. Remember talking me?
Yes. Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
That's all the way. That's the only way. Because you have to. When you import something to feed up your family and feed the nation, that is not a production now.
Talk to me.
But when you farm and to sell, that's production. So when you import things, there's no production to the country. It's only benefit the person who import the goods, but it don't benefit the country.
Yes.
And most of those people that are importing goods, check if they have a US account.
But you know one of the problems with a lot of Jamaicans, we don't look at other countries, what they do, because it seems like we always want to try and invent the wheel. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, look at other countries, how they grow. And when you look at them, you see that most first world country, if all first world country, subsidize their farmers because they understand that food security is key to any country.
All right. A great example. One time, Ukraine is one of the biggest country in seeding, right? Wheat, right?
Mm.
And when the war started, you know what Biden did? They passed a financial act to help the farmers there. Right?
Yeah.
You know where America economic grow? They import less things for their product. That's why right around America, they are building chip factories.
So massive farms there in America, you know, brother.
Bridget, I see a place in Orlando where I see around 50 greenhouse in line.
Yeah, man.
50 greenhouse.
You have to feed your nation, brother.
And next thing to you, when you import food to feed your nation is not healthy.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how long those food is in the market, somewhere on ice or somewhere on that, right? Getting out of a bacteria. I can remember when me used to go country feed my granny. My granny had 2 farms. The farm that feed his family, for them fertilizer is bush mulch. See farm that supply the market of fertilizer. You know the reason why she do that?
No, tell me.
She know the food that she mulch with is a more healthier food. Going to take longer to grow, but it's a more healthier food than the one that you put fertilizer on.
All right.
If you check most family back in those days, and see that there are 2 farms, one around the house that feed the family, and the one in the bush that sell to the market.
All right, my brother. Enough respect and thanks for the call. Here?
Yeah, man. I'm blessed, man.
Big up yourself. Right. All right. We have passed the time, but I really want to return this call. This person been trying to get me for a long time. Been calling on the other phone as well. So let me see if I can get this person on.
Greetings, my brother.
Where I say, partner, welcome, man. Enough respect.
Yes, blessing, man.
Talk to me.
Now listen to the program. The little young fella that will come talk earlier.
Yeah.
At the second time here, him come on the program with the rubbish. Him in a politics and him this and him that. But yet still him a listen to your program and him come on and this is the second time hear him. Him come on and him a defend something and him not have the facts.
Him not understand where him a defend.
But him not understand. Brother, if you have to spend light bill, water and food $1,000 and young will have 700, you have to borrow 300. So, that's a simple common sense.
And it means you borrow to pay your bills.
It means it borrow. It no matter which one I bill them, you pay.
You have to borrow.
To pay your bill. You borrow.
The government laid out a budget. Sense. The government presented a budget in March, April of $1.38 trillion. And the government told you then that them only can find $1 trillion. So they're going to have to borrow the next 3.8 trillion.
Exactly.
And then they are coming out to tell people that they're not borrowing to do this and they're not borrowing to do that. It's a lie. A blatant lie.
All right. But if them don't want it look like a lie, all right, you have $1 trillion. Fix where you have fix. And then tell the people say money don't know, so we can't do the road, so we have to go borrow money for the road. That's different. But if you borrow the money, it means that everything go in a one basket and you take out from the basket to do what you have to do. I borrow, brother.
Well, see, somebody said, no, Colin, you only borrow to pay your light bill. That is not borrowing. Laugh out loud.
Hey, my man. The next thing I want to talk to you about. if the government invests in agriculture and we can stop import chicken, carrot, tomato, orange, you know, how much foreign exchange that we have
Of
to buy
course.
other stuff.
Of course. No, but if you listen to Dayton Campbell, he told you that in 2014, our food importation bill was $800 million. Little above. Our food importation bill last year was 1.3 billion US dollars. So we gone up by nearly $5 billion. $500 million, sorry. That's 500 million US dollars more we had to find. Hence the dollar.
Right,
we have to be defending the dollar. The Bank of Jamaica spent over 60 million this week to defend the Jamaican dollar. So enough people don't understand what is happening.
Brother, the less we can import, the more money we have to buy things where we can't farm yourself.
That is what we need to do. We don't need to import what we can produce.
Professor Nuts have a song where say export more, import less.
Yes, man.
See me?
Yeah, man.
And the people have to listen from that, brother. Me see, over here in America, the government investing in them farmers. There are them listen to a program where out in the prairies in Canada, the weather mash up the people them crop and the government compensate them based on them last year.
Of course, because you don't want them not farm this year or next year them not bother farm. You need food security, my brother.
You need food security.
Respect, bro.
My brother, continue your thing. Yes,
one love. One love. I'm going to return the D. So much calls me have to return. So much calls me have to return. Let me thank everybody for watching, you know. Thank everybody for watching and listening. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Those of you over TikTok, come subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hello, morning.
Hey, morning, Shaka.
Welcome. Where I say?
You're good?
Yes, man.
Long time, you know.
Talk
to me. Man, I watch your thing all the while, but a long time. We're not even chat differently still.
Wagwan, brother. This sound like coach.
See you, man.
Bless up, man. All time in a year from the eye, brother. Big up yourself.
True. Yeah. Yeah, me just call one boy there. Sometimes you have to run some of them off of your program, man. Cause I waste your time and waste my listening ears, you know, man.
True, but sometimes we have to teach some of them, you know. And make them call and realize that when them call and say them thing, then them realize, shucks, me not understand this thing. I not have it. You know, so them have to back up.
Yeah, me understand, but sometimes we put the intelligence aside and run with some of them too, man.
I hear you, my brother.
Yeah.
All right, partner.
Yeah, man, but me love what you do, and you know.
All right, my brother. Big up yourself.
And just keep up the good work here, so.
Blessings, man. One love.
Man.
All right, coach. Big up.
Big up.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yes, my people. So, before me go, let me play them again before now. See it, yeah?
Minister Morgan also came out swinging, saying that unlike Mr. Golding's party, the Holiness administration is able to undertake extensive road repair projects without borrowing.
The reason the government is able to do this while previous governments, of which Mr. Golding was a part, were unable to do it is because of how we have managed the economy. We have managed the economy in a way where, for the first time in a very long time, the government has been able to spend money to uplift the country without having to borrow.
You see that? Without having to borrow. Now, tell me about
the
this.
details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion, or 2.2% more than projected for.
Hold on. You hear the person say? 2% more than projected for. So it's planned borrowing. And I like, oh, shucks, we need to borrow some money because this now work out. No. When the budget was tabled, the borrowing part was in there. Understand, my people. The government of Jamaica is borrowing to finance the budget. Not all of it, but they are borrowing to finance some of the budget, because the budget for Jamaica for the financial year April 2024 to March 2025 is $1.38 trillion. The government told us that they can only find $1 trillion. So there's $3.8 billion, $380 billion that we need to borrow.
Billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and 46. Now the details. The government of Jamaica borrowed $102.22 billion during the period April to November of this fiscal year. This was $2.15 billion, or 2.2% more than projected for. Some $55 billion of this amount was obtained from the domestic market and $46.49 billion from the external sources.
So 50 billion of it, them borrow right at Jamaica, yes, sir. 40 billion them go overseas like Saudi Arabia and then place they then go borrow some money from. Talk to me, caller.
Yeah, man, Shaka, what?
Me there, man. Bless up.
Yeah, man, I listen to your program, you know.
Thank you.
I listen, Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Yeah, but right now, as I say, if the country not deal with agriculture, it don't make no sense. Because that's the key source.
Agriculture is down 12.5% for this year. So we're producing 12.5% less than we produced last year. So agriculture is in decline.
Any other major, superpower or, financially strong country where you see out there, them agriculture have to be, one of the things where you prioritize,
Yes, must.
Yeah, because you can't feed yourself.
It's simple. If you have your family and you not feed your family, brother, you're worse than an invalid. You have to feed your family.
Real thing.
Yeah, man.
Real thing. That's the most important thing. You have to feed your nation. You have to feed the nation.
Yes, man.
If you can't feed the nation, you're in trouble. Because you have to depend on outside sources, and then sometimes the quality of food that you will get from outside.
Then the waste food them dump on women.
Yeah.
And then we all know that Jamaica
unhealthy for your people. It's unhealthy for your people.
And then we all know that with our climate and our soil, we produce better quality foods than most places.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Jamaica product are some of the best product them where you can find out that the authentic Jamaican foods, because you have no food and label out there and say Jamaican way. And really Jamaican neither. You understand?
Right, there you go, brother.
Yeah. But when you get the authentic Jamaican food, are the best.
Yes, man. Yes,
and
man.
as a nation, we have to be able to feed ourselves first. As I said, COVID-19 supposed to teach Jamaica that,
But we never learn nothing to look like.
You understand me? I say, yeah.
Never
absolutely.
learn a thing, brother.
You understand me? I say? And when I say the government need to step in the farming much harder, much. Them so need to get more support. It needs to be a bigger part of the budget. I think so they will help the farmers then.
And that's what Dayton Campbell is saying, that the next PNP government will be investing heavily in agriculture, will be looking after our farmers so that we can produce all the things that we can produce locally instead of importing them. Thank you for your call, my brother.
Yeah, man. Enough respect, Shaq.
One love. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you all, make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace now and forevermore. Until we meet again Tuesday night, Colin Bell, SHACKAFAME saying, remember to share and subscribe to the channel. Like up the video. Blessings, my people. One love. Hold on, I want to play something before I left. Because them think I angle that. You're Ralston, man.
So, explain to me again. Explain that.
Because the man them say.
Simple, as the country's alternate Minister of Finance. I am telling everybody, just go on the Ministry of Finance website. Just go in Google, type in MOF, and when you see the thing come up, you will see fiscal operations.
Right.
And you click on fiscal operations and you see central government operating tables. And you see the month. April, May, June, July, August, September.
I want you to explain something else.
Simple.
You see, because it cannot just be misleading.
It's not misleading, it's lying.
Well, that's my point. Because if you are saying we're doing all of these things without borrowing, what is this borrowing?
Okay. When the minister released
I can only assume they are going to tell me that no, we borrowed to service this, which is a norm. So we borrowed to service education, health, very. We're not borrowing to fix roads. So we get the money for to fix the road.
All of the funds, when the Minister of Finance reads the budget, he brings to Parliament not only the yellow book,
right,
but also bring a book called the Debt Management Strategy, which is signed off by people like Diane Black, who heads the debt management unit in the Ministry of Finance.
Right.
And the minister tells you how much money he's going to borrow to help.
And this is a legal thing because he has to do this, right? This is part of the law.
Collecting of taxes to fund the budget. So Nigel Clark, when he came to the Parliament, he said that he was going to collect $1 trillion in taxes, and the rest, $380 billion, will come from $260 billion in borrowing, $4.162 billion in grants that are money we get from other people free.
Right.
And it will be drawing down some $887 million from the Capital Development Fund, which come out of the backside of the alumina sector in order to fund the budget. Yeah?
Yeah.
It'll be about after $260 billion, $60 billion would come from the IMF. A portion would come from Saudi Arabia and all of those places that they use to do road projects and them something. You with me?
Right.
Up to November, they drew down $102 billion of that money. The plan was to draw down only $100 billion, but they draw down $102.2 billion. So the people can go on the Ministry of Finance's website and see for themselves.
This report also said something like, in terms of this borrowing, like 56 billion coming
from the local market and 44 from the
overseas.
External market.
Right. So the local market is when them put, when them do the TD them and all them stuff.
Yeah, the treasury bills. Right. If you go on the Bank of Jamaica website, because the Bank of Jamaica do the floating to them.
Right.
If you go on the Bank of Jamaica website, you see that 3 treasury bills were floated this week, and all of them were oversubscribed. Yep.
Which is borrowing.
Yeah, but I mean, borrow the money. Borrow the money. What you do?
So them have a different meaning for borrow.
Then maybe them take the people up for food, or maybe them believe that people don't know how to find these things.
No, but Rasta, no, that can't be the argument.
But Simon, what else could be the argument? Again, I tell you, when the minister, the one thing we call the public sector borrowing requirement.
Yes.
So you will never be able to collect enough taxes to fund the budget, so you have to borrow. When you run a fiscal deficit, it means you borrow the money.
So that's what the man them said. It's a norm to borrow, but we not borrow for fixed road.
The way the money is commingled, you do the money, all of the money coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get to pay Simon, you have your house for the money where you get not enough. So you say I gotta borrow some money.
Glad you know.
Yeah. That's right. So you say I gotta borrow some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you borrow the money, you put it together with your salary, you do what you need for do. It's just as simple thing as that.
So you're sure it's not a different word?
No, there's no different. No different. There's no different.
So when the man said we don't borrow no money for fixed road,
it's lying. Because all part of the money will come from Saudi Arabia and them places, and money for fixed road and the water supply and irrigation and all of them something. It's lying.
And it's borrowing.
Yeah. The only money we have a specific purpose for. IMF money are for balance of payment support. That are the only money we have a specific tag for. We have used for a specific purpose. The other money you can just commingle and do whatever you want to do. Stupidness.